So I can't remember how long it's been since my van didn't work anymore. I might be going on a month now, somewhere around there. And about 2 weeks ago, again, I don't know the exact time. My sense of time is so off. I gave a guy a couple empty propane tanks. And I need to get those filled and get a delivery. And we finally are in contact on phone and social media so we can communicate. And I need to send him a message and say, okay, so like when are we going to do this thing? You know, and perhaps make a trip into town so I can buy way too much supplies because I want to maximize what I get. If I'm paying him for taking me out to go shopping, I want to maximize what I get out of that trip, you know, and spend as much money as I can for supplies I know I'm going to need anyway. So I'm not real thrilled that so far it's been very slow, because eventually I want to be able to plan ahead, of course, and you know, just get this shit, like, make it work like clockwork. Like, I need stuff and kind of schedule it, really. And there's not that much stuff I need. Once I'm not alone, once I have people here, shit is going to hit the fan. Like, there's going to be so many needs, some of which will be bullshit fake ones, but a whole bunch of needs are going to happen. And so, like, I have to make a store that is stocked with stuff. You know, like sweaters and headlamps and medicines. I think I have sanitary pads for women right now in there. I don't even know if they're the right kind. I don't know anything about that kind of thing. I should probably have, you know, Diva cups and sponsors and sponsored products, and I need, you know, electric solar lanterns and all sorts of stuff. I mean, I remember when I used to have people, I would end up driving into town fairly often, and that's not even an option right now. So I think the idea of relying on outside transport sounds nice, but it's kind of goddamn inconvenient. And I'll figure it out. It's an option, and I definitely should develop that as a system. I know, like, for example, when I used to have people here, I could send a spreadsheet with a food order on it of fresh fruits and veggies, and they would send a truck out like the next day or a day after that. I mean, we'd plan ahead generally. And we would get enough food for like 15 people. Which, I mean, 15 people actually eat quite a bit of food, especially if they're normal people, not weird freak hermits. So that worked pretty well, and that was something I would do again. And the road is better now too. So so it is possible to set up things so I don't need a vehicle. But I think, I did other videos on transportation team stuff. I need to be able to pick people up at the airport. I need somebody to be able to do that I trust. And in the past, what I've done is sometimes I've told people, just go to the airport and then get a taxi to a place where we'll meet you, which is a little bit tricky because then we have to make sure we get there, and now I can't get there, and people have luggage, and so what am I going to do? Hire someone to bring in every single person that arrives at some random time, and of course the time people arrive at may not be very controllable by me, and one person like stopped to eat with their taxi cab driver, and like I'm waiting, you know, for them. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong in systems, I guess. And so the only solution for that is to design the hell out of systems. There's even things, I was talking with somebody who was here about that, because I was talking about like having systems that work and defining them better, and they said something about time and movement studies and how restaurants like McDonald's, not that I want to use them as an example for much that's any good. Hi there, can I pet you? I can't pet you? Are you sure I can't pet you? I'm a nice boy. I'm very nice. Come on, come on. That dog is still scared of me. I was very close though. That's the closest I've got. I need meat. I need dog snacks because all the other dogs are somewhere else. And this dog actually does like to hang with me. I think this dog might be a little older than I thought. It's not a dumb dog. It's not a bad dog. Hi, honey. Does not trust me at all. Probably will never trust another human being. Although I bet if I had more people here, I bet you there would be somebody that could seduce that dog. And I could even seduce that dog if I can get alone away from the other dogs and have snacks. Because, you know, like they say, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Well, not in my case. It's not true. But I think it's very true for dogs. Like, if I give it special yummy foods, like dried liver, I have a solar dehydrator. And in the past, I took strips of liver and I dried them in it. And those made awesome dog snacks. And I can get liver for almost free. It's super cheap and super nutritious. So that's another project I need to be doing again. So anyway, back to transport. I actually have an airport that some people will fly into because it's more convenient. And it's about 6 hours away. And there's another airport that's very common to use. And that's about 5 or 6 hours away. So God, motherfucking damn it. Fucking stupid gate of dumbness. And I'd like to be able to pick people up at those because a lot of them aren't used to traveling. And travel could be complicated or difficult for them. And traveling's already complicated and dangerous and stuff. Like, you feel vulnerable if you're traveling, especially by yourself. And a lot of people who have come to visit me came by themselves. So I want to make it easier for them. And I don't think it's as much a security thing. But then there's also people who want to travel by public transport. And it's like 3 hops to get here from the nearest airport. And it's more hops from places further away. So, I mean, somebody could be in for like 2 days of travel to get here. And then I have to somehow be in contact with them so I can meet them. It's just all inconvenient as hell. And there's too many potential problems. And as far as security goes, even though it's very safe, if you just fly in somewhere and get a taxi to come here, which they won't go on my road, so they don't really, I mean, this is just this fundamental problem is no one can get to my home. All right, that's it. You know what I'm talking about, transportation and shit. It's got so much stuff I got to set up if I'm going to have people here. All right, so I'm figuring out the problems. Apparently they thought I wanted the tanks to get refilled, but those tanks have leaks in them. So I actually want them to get swapped out, and I happened to be in town and ran into the guy with the truck. And so right now he's swapping them out. And I'm also going to get his number and make a map, and maybe they can bring deliveries all the way to my house, because this guy's got a pretty good truck, kind of good. And also then, instead of getting 2 tanks here and there, I have more tanks, and I could just swap them all out, fill them all, and I can use 1 tank for like 6 months at least. Now that will increase as I have more people, but we should be cooking with wood and solar anyway as default, and propane should be used as a backup system or for convenience in some systems. But solar and wood are more sustainable. So it's a lot of complex stuff. The stuff I said earlier about time and movement studies, especially it matters in the kitchen, right? Where every single movement we make, every single movement has to be made so it's super efficient, so we don't produce waste, we don't use as much time as we could. And even though McDonald's might not be the people to mimic, these time and motion studies, I should read up on those. I want to make every system spelled out to every detail. Not just for food, not just for energy, But everything we do, we want to specify it really well, because I've noticed that when I do give instructions to people, sometimes I don't do a good enough job and they don't do the thing I wanted to get done. That's a big problem, and that's my fault. It's my fault for not defining the system well enough, so it's really hard to mess up. And of course, people want to be successful. They want to do a good job, but you know, it's difficult to do a good job, I guess, if it's not a well enough defined system, and if somebody's out of their element, and then they do things wrong, and it's frustrating for everybody and makes even more work. So it's everybody's got to get sharp and do it right. But the documented way of doing things is what has to be the real leader here, and then there's less decision making and less confusion and frustration. Perfect. I got the guy's WhatsApp information, and I'm going to send him a map, and in the future I'll save up a little bit of money, fill all my tanks, find the key, because some of them are locked up and I don't know where the hell the key is for that lock, but I should be able to buy several years worth of gas, propane at one time. Knocking down the problems one by one. So more supply chain stuff. I ran into a guy who has a pickup truck, and he's a guy I used to work with, and really nice guy, and he would be great to pay to take me to town and do a little shopping and buy enough for like 2 months. Really stock up. That would be awesome. I'll get this stuff figured out.